Paula, thank you so much, but right now you're muted.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am, again, Paula Fontana, Vice President of Strategic Programming Initiatives with the National Black MBA Association. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for Who is Keurig Dr Pepper? A look inside one of the leading beverage companies in North America. So the mission of the National Black MBA Association is to lead in the creation of educational, wealth building, and growth opportunities for Blacks throughout all stages of their careers as students, professionals, and entrepreneurs. And we can only accomplish that mission in partnership with organizations such as Keurig Dr Pepper that take the time to engage with our membership to provide a pathway to opportunity. So I now have the pleasure of introducing Laura Wisenhunt, Senior Manager, Marketing Capabilities. She has over 20 years of experience in marketing, recruiting, people development, consumer engagement, and CPG brand management. She is passionate about recruiting top talent into KDP marketing team, engaging consumers, and leading others to succeed. Laura, welcome, and thank you to the team and you for being here this evening.
Thank you very much, Paula. It is a privilege to be here. I am so excited to have the opportunity today to speak to you guys and to share more details about our internship programs here at Keurig Dr Pepper. Before I do, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I have been with KDP for over 7 years. I've held various roles within marketing, most recently leading our marketing capabilities team, where I have the privilege of recruiting top talent into KDP through our marketing internship program. I absolutely love what I do, and I am so proud to be with this company. I don't take that for granted. I know there are a lot of people that don't get to say that about their jobs, but I absolutely love mine. And one of the reasons why is because of our amazing brands. I love our brands. Dr Pepper is my favorite. Should be no surprise since I was born and raised in Texas. It runs through my veins. But also, I grew up with many of the brands that are in our portfolio, and it excites me to get to share them with others through the work that I do. And I also love our people. We have an amazing culture. I love coming to work every day because of the talented, smart, and super fun people that I get to work with. Then on a personal note, my family is my #1 priority. I have a wonderful husband and 2 teenage boys, and they are growing up way too fast. One of the ways in which I'm able to keep up with them is by staying active. So health and wellness is very important to me. And then I know how to work hard, but I also like to play hard too. I am a huge Disney fan. Taking a Disney World vacation is a tradition for our family. It's something that we do every single year. I never got a chance to really take many vacations when I was a kid, and I certainly didn't get to go to Disney World, so I am definitely making up for lost time as an adult. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's talk more about Keurig Dr Pepper. Here's what our agenda looks like for the next hour. We are going to introduce you to our company, our values, and our ways of working. I will share details about our internship opportunities and how you can apply. And then we have a panel today, a panel of our ERG members and allies, and they are here to share more about diversity and inclusion at KDP. So who is Keurig Dr Pepper? I am going to actually show you guys a video that best describes who we are. Okay, we truly have created a modern beverage company, and we are uniquely positioned to win. In fact, we are winning. We are winning in the marketplace. It's exciting to say. You can see in looking here at our company pillars, our scalable business model provides a platform for future growth. We have an unrivaled portfolio of brands to meet every consumer need. We have a flexible and scalable route to market network, bold environmental, social, and decision-making commitments. And we have a high-performing team that brings all of this together and always steps up to deliver. And we're the 8th largest food and beverage company in the US. We have over $11.6 billion in net sales. We have over 27,000 employees and over 125 iconic brands in our portfolio. And very importantly, we continue to thrive through a challenging business environment. And what guides us every day is our simple yet powerful vision. Our goal is to have a beverage for every consumer need, available everywhere people shop and consume. And we truly do put the consumer at the heart of everything that we do. And I personally think it's so exciting that we can say we can reach every consumer with our amazing brands. As I mentioned, we have over 125 brands. Many of these are likely familiar to you, and hopefully some of your favorites, from coffee in the morning to flavored soft drinks or tea or water in the afternoon, to your favorite mixers in the evening. We truly have a brand to fit every occasion and every consumer need. And with these brands, we hold leadership positions across several key categories. As you can see, number 1 or number 2 in most categories. And we continue to drive growth, and we're able to do that through innovation, through renovation, and partnerships to meet our growth goals. We continue to tap into what consumers want real time, and we're able to do this because of our world-class research and development expertise and because of our best-in-class manufacturing facilities. And we deliver world-class marketing and consumer programs as well, from unique campaigns like Dr Pepper Fansville to connecting with our consumers through social media. We continue to deliver engaging content so that our consumers will get excited, so that they'll fall in love with our products, and so that they'll continue to engage with us. But it is our high performance team culture, and that's what delivers our competitive advantage. And we do that through speed, flexibility, and resilience. And our KDP values are what guide us. At KDP, we believe in both personal and professional growth. We believe in putting our team first, thinking bold, delivering big, and being fearless and fair. And these are the values that help us drive that competitive advantage. As I mentioned before, one of the number 1 reasons why I love KDP is because of our culture. We have a very collaborative team with diversity of thought and experiences, and a team of people that really are passionate about what we do. And we have state-of-the-art facilities that inspire us too. We have 2 headquarter locations. One is in Frisco, Texas, and the other is in Burlington, Massachusetts. And these facilities offer everything we need to thrive. They're not just beautiful buildings, but we have the very best technology, collaborative spaces, and amazing amenities. In fact, our new Frisco headquarters has a balcony that overlooks the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. And then in Burlington, you can enjoy your favorite cup of coffee made by an actual barista. So these are just a couple of the perks that we get to enjoy as KDP employees. And I am excited to share that we have internship opportunities at both of these locations. So now I wanted to take a few minutes to highlight our internship opportunities and how you can apply. We offer MBA internship programs in both of our headquarter locations. We have internships that are available both on the hot and cold sides of our business. So working on coffee, cold beverage, or appliance brand marketing, as well as finance, supply chain, and appliance cost engineering. And our interns have the opportunity to truly impact our brands and leave their mark on KDP. We offer comprehensive 10-week summer programs. And during these 10 weeks, each of our interns is assigned a unique project that addresses a real-time challenge within our business. And these are individual stretch projects where each intern gets to analyze data and formulate their own strategic recommendations. And then they actually get to present those recommendations to our senior leaders. We provide extensive onboarding and training and consistent feedback and coaching throughout the entire summer, along with broad cross-functional interaction and exposure across our entire organization, all the way up through our executive leadership team. We offer plenty of opportunities for our interns to experience our dynamic culture as well. And we do that through networking events and coffee chats and happy hours and tons of opportunities to connect at all levels. Our goal is to ensure that each of our interns is set for success. And then our hope is that every one of them returns the following summer as a full-time KDP employee. So our MBA internship applications are open. In terms of next steps, interested individuals should apply online to start the process. And those that qualify will then move into a higher view stage. And then we do have several rounds of interviews prior to extending offers to qualified candidates. If you're interested in applying, we've made it really easy right here on this slide. You can just hover your phone over one of the QR codes shown on the screen, and you will be linked directly to our applications, either brand marketing, finance, we've got supply chain and appliance cost engineering internships as well. So I'll stay here for just a quick second more, but I now have the pleasure of introducing you to Tanika Cottonbrock, and she is our Director of Diversity and Inclusion here at KDP, and she will be sharing our D&I initiatives and will be hosting our panel discussion today. So that said, I'm going to pass the presentation over to Tanika.
Thank you so much, Laura, and welcome everyone today. Happy to be here with you to talk about KDP and to talk about what we're doing in the diversity and inclusion space. Go ahead and go to the next slide. One of the things that I'd like to do is to tell you a little bit about myself. First, I know that there's a lot on this slide. I'm not going to cover all of it, but as a D&I practitioner, I love sharing the things that make me me. So that's why there's so much on this slide. What I will say is that my background is cross-functional. I had beginnings in marketing and really discovered my passion for people in a chance rotation to human resources and decided to stay. I'm married with 2 young girls, and we love to travel. From a KDP perspective, I'm fairly new to KDP. I've been at KDP for a little over a year, and I can tell you, hands down, the best thing about KDP is absolutely the amazing, amazing people. I love my smart brewer, I will say, my K Supreme smart brewer. That's one of my favorite KDP offerings, as well as core blueberry. So that's a little bit about me. If we can now flip to the next slide, let's actually shift gears and talk a little bit more about diversity and inclusion at KDP. So at KDP, D&I is a priority and it's a strategic imperative. And at the end of the day, D&I is really about people. It is about having a work environment that is inclusive and welcoming. And we do this supported by our values that Laura talked about. Team first, deliver big, think bold, be fearless and fair. And I can tell you at KDP, these are not words on a wall. This is how people walk the walk at KDP. So our values are very important to us. In addition, from a D&I standpoint, we have 8 employee resource groups that are up and active. And those employee resource groups are really there to support the development of their members, promote cultural awareness, and also provide connection and community. One of the things that I love to do on this particular slide is to call the attention down to the bottom. It's a quote from our CEO, Bob Gamgort, and it really does sort of wrap our intent up very clearly. So we aspire to drive positive change primarily from the inside out by making KDP a microcosm for a world in which we want to live and work, and in doing so, serve as an example to others. So if we can go to the next slide, what I'd like to do is to show you a simplified presentation of our diversity and inclusion aspiration. You can see here that it's made up of 3 key pieces: diversity, inclusion, and driving change. All 3 of these areas are just as important as the next one. Obviously, diversity is exactly what you think it means. It's representation, and it's also our processes and our actions demonstrating equity and leveling the playing field. Inclusion is about leaders actually creating that culture of trust and having KDP be a place where all people belong, all voices are heard, and perspectives are valued. The last piece is really key, and it's driving change. And that piece is around the fact that every single employee has a role to play in terms of driving and supporting and advocating for diversity and inclusion. What's most important here that's not necessarily on this slide is really how our employees feel. So we want employees to, number one, in diversity, see themselves across all levels at KDP. We want them to feel included and know that their voices are heard and their opinions are valued. And at the end of the day, we want them to know and embrace that, hey, this is a part of our journey. So if we can go to the next slide. This year in our Drink Well, Do Good report, we publicly released our goals around diversity and inclusion, our aspiration, and our high-level strategy in the people and community section of the report. And if we can go to the next slide, just to give you a high level, we also talked about some things that we had accomplished. And if you can do one click more, Laura, specifically to our goals, from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, there are 2 main goals that we called out in our Drink Well, Do Good report. One is an increase in female representation in Director Plus levels by 2025, and the other, people of color in Director Plus roles by 2025. So those are the goals that we set out in our Drink Well, Do Good report. That is just a high level of where we are and some information about diversity and inclusion at KDP. What I'd like to do is to shift gears and invite our panel to join us and turn on their video as we start the Q&A section of our webinar. So what I'd like to do is to invite our panelists to introduce themselves by telling us their name, their team and role, how many years they've been at KDP, and any information about their academic background. So I'd like to start that conversation with Brenda. Brenda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Brenda Armstead. I lead the KDP Consumer Insights team across our entire portfolio of hot and cold products. I've been here for almost 6 years. I started on the Keurig Green Mountain side, the coffee side. And I sort of moved into coffee brand marketing for a bit, and now I'm back leading across the portfolio. My background is I went to Harvard University and Radcliffe College, majoring in psychology and social relations. So it was a mix of advanced analytics and statistics, along with understanding human behavior, which is perfect for an insights role. And then I went on to get my MBA from Boston University with a concentration in healthcare management. And so I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Ahirame, if you would unmute and introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Ahirame Adeo. I'm a senior manager on the sourcing team. I support the marketing and sales category across the enterprise at KDP. I've been with the company for almost 2 years now, 2 years and a couple of weeks. My background, I have an undergraduate degree from the University of California, Davis in international relations and an MBA from Hofstra University in New York with a concentration on management, and was actually a member of the National Black MBA Association as a student there, and am a current member now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yolanda, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yolanda Roach, and I work within the finance department. I am a senior manager for master data, and I'm also the community pillar lead for our African American employee resource group. This month, I will be with the company for 25 years. I've had over 11 or 12 different roles with 4 different companies, which is the same company. We've gone from Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, Cadbury Beverages, Dr. Pepper Snapple, and now Keurig Dr Pepper. I currently have a bachelor's finance degree from the University of Texas and a master's degree in corporate leadership from Dallas Baptist. I've also been involved with a National Black MBA for about 13 or 14 years ago. I started out as a company representative. I haven't been as active as I have would like lately, but I tend to stay close and keep up with what's going on with National Black MBA by tuning into their LinkedIn, and I am on their email distribution. Happy to talk to you guys tonight and bring on the questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yolanda. Let's get into the questions now that you mention it. First one, I'd like to actually go ahead and direct to Hireme. How did you start your career at KDP? Give us a little bit more background.
So like I said, I joined 2 years ago. I supported marketing previously, so joined supporting marketing and sales 2 years ago. So Brenda is one of my stakeholders. Her and her team is one of my stakeholders. And I support various categories. So insights, promotional, public relations, media, anything that falls under the realm of marketing and anything that falls under the realm of sales, I support well here at KDP, and has been the categories I've supported for the 2 years.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'd also like for you to answer that question, Brenda. Give us a little bit more about, how you started at KDP and a little bit more about your career.
Yes, I started my career with Bausch & Lomb in Rochester, New York, and then moved on to work for the Polaroid Corporation in Cambridge, Mass. And then from there, I went across the Charles River to work for Gillette and Procter & Gamble. I was there for 16 years in total. And then most recently was working at Johnson & Johnson, first leading the insights and analytics function for the beauty business, which included Neutrogena and Aveeno and Rock and Lubriderm and Ambi as well. And then moved on to lead the entire consumer sector. So Band-Aids, Listerine, Tylenol, you name it, Johnson's Baby, which is the iconic brand as well. And then just by chance, through LinkedIn, Keurig Green Mountain reached out to me and said there was an opportunity for building the insights function at Keurig Green Mountain. And, I'm from Boston, if you can't tell from my accent already. And so it was an opportunity to move from the Princeton, New Jersey area back to Massachusetts with my family, my husband and my 2 girls. And from the moment I stepped into the building in Burlington, I knew that was going to be my next role for the same reasons that Tanika mentioned, which is the culture of the people. Just friendly, willing to help, answered a lot of my questions, were very passionate about the brands that we had, the coffee and appliance side in particular. And so really, said, yes, I will come. So took the leap and we moved back here, and it's been a fantastic journey. What I love a lot about KDP is the ability to move across different functions as well. So I was given the opportunity to the brand marketing area for coffee for a bit in 2018 and 2019. And that was such a great experience for me. Scary, but, took a risk and leaned in, and then came in to do this role, which has been phenomenal.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Brenda. I want to bring Yolanda in on this conversation with a question that I think you would be wonderful in terms of answering. How did you break into your field if you didn't major in it in undergrad? So do you have any recommendations or advice in terms of, you know, a more actively strategic role in terms of career progression?
Sure. So yeah, for me, when I'm originally from Oklahoma, and at the time, the job market wasn't really doing very well. So I transplanted to Texas, just across the Red River, and started at Dr. Pepper, really just, seeking out a job. And I remember I had a female manager that hired me, and she, as part of my interview, I told her I had took a break from going to school, and I had been with the company for about 6 months. And she called me into her office one day and asked me why hadn't I submitted my tuition reimbursement to get back into school. I say that to say this: I had started out in accounting, but soon I realized that crunching numbers for 8 hours a day wasn't really where I was passionate about. And so I switched over to finance. And that gave me the ability to do the analytics that I so loved, and at the same time have an opportunity to manage people. And so as Brenda has said, a company like KDP, it has given us lots of opportunities to move around in different areas, but finance has proven to be where I'm passionate about. But over my last 25 years, I've worked in supply chain, customer service, sales, and a little bit of marketing, but mostly in finance. So for me, I guess the best advice that I can give someone who may be starting out is everybody's career path is different. I had mentioned that I had went back to school to get my degree. I got both of my degrees while I was working. And so I set goals for myself. I knew that my career would have to take a back seat because my husband had a very aggressive sales career at the very beginning of our very beginning of our marriage and the beginning of my career. But at the same time, I knew it was going to be important for me to get an education and get my master's degree. So I challenged myself before my daughter started elementary school to go to school and get my master's degree because, like I said, I knew I would be taking a back seat and focusing more on family. But that's the good part about KDP. During those times, I could take less challenging roles. And so today, my daughter, she's gonna graduate this year. She's gonna be a senior. My husband is now an entrepreneur. He has his own business. And so now I'm educated and I've got the experience over 25 years. And so now I can start, focusing on what Yolanda wants to do when she grows up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, Yolanda. Now a question to all of the panelists, if you guys would like to answer, and this is from one of our attendees. Which skills from your MBA program were most valuable?
I can take that question. I would say, because my master's degree is in corporate leadership, is being able to work with diverse leadership styles, learning how to influence the decision and be confident as you're presenting strategic ideas. Again, it's not a one size fits all, but you really have to learn what works with one leader may not work with another leader. So understand that leaders' style and what are their buttons and what gets them excited, what is going to get them on board, because a lot of times to get your plans implemented, you have to have sponsorship. So I would say learning how to work with different leadership styles and then learning how to influence those decisions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Yolanda. All right, so let's move on to the next question, which is, can you share how you in particular experience inclusion at KDP within your role? Ahirame, if you don't mind taking that one first.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a member of the African American ERG and the Women's Art ERG, but really anything that comes up, well, it's not anything that comes up, but I've been a member or participate in different activities that have happened, and I've seen just the inclusion. If I backtrack to a few events, the Juneteenth event that the organization had and kicking off Hispanic Heritage Month, just feeling or having the sense to be my authentic self, and being able to talk to my colleagues about the Juneteenth event, about the Hispanic Heritage event, about the different discussions that have happened, and feel like I can candidly express how I feel and have a conversation. So they feel less like colleagues, and we're talking about real world current events that are happening. And so that's how I see the inclusion, just being able to come in each day, well, come in at this point is at home, but come in each day and really be my authentic self.
Absolutely. Love that. Brenda, would love your perspective on this question as well, in terms of how you experience inclusion at KDP within your role.
Yes, I would say if you were to go on KDP's website and you were to look at our Do Well, Drink Well, Do Good report, which is our corporate responsibility report, you'll see a number of areas that KDP feels are really important. And one of them is what A. Raymond just mentioned, which is the diversity and inclusion piece. I happen to be a member of the diversity and inclusion leadership team at KDP, so I work very closely with Tanika. It has been an incredible journey over the last year, and it's all about bringing your authentic self to work. So you should not be having like one self at work and somebody totally different when you're out of work. You bring your full self to work, because that diversity of thought, that diversity of opinion is really valued here. And I can attest to that over the last year, being involved in helping to develop the aspiration and the strategy for diversity and inclusion. But beyond that, when you look at our Drink Well, Do Good report, there's also things in there around sustainability. And when you think about the insights function, we do a lot with consumers in terms of understanding what are the barriers to using our products, or what are the positives in using our products. And sustainability is a huge piece of that as well. So we've done a lot in terms of recyclability of our plastics on the cold side, using post-recyclable materials in our brewers, having recyclable K-cups and easy peel tabs now on the coffee side. So we are making huge progress, and we've had external commitments that we have not broken. We meet them all. So the company is very serious about that. And a third piece of how we experience inclusion as well is really positive hydration, which is a new metric that we have at KDP, where it's about putting 60% of our portfolio by 2025 into positive hydration, meaning servings of fruit and vegetables, low sugar, low calories, et cetera. So we really do care about the consumers that we serve. We have corporate initiatives like Let's Play, which is all about fitness for families, but also we want to think about what kinds of beverages our consumers are putting in their bodies as well. And so we have huge commitments in that area. So all three of those, which we wrap up in our corporate responsibility report, is all about inclusion for our employees as well as our consumers.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Brenda. This next question, I'm actually going to ask any or all of you to answer, our panelists. What are the unique challenges and advantages you have experienced throughout your career? Who would like to take that one first?
I'll answer.
I'll take it.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You first.
So in terms of advantages, so I've been doing sourcing for a little over 10 years and started my career sourcing human bodies. So I loved sourcing. I fell into sourcing by accident, realized I loved sourcing, didn't want to source human bodies anymore. And what I realized, it's a very transferable skill. So I started off sourcing human bodies in education, then went to entertainment, then went to finance, and now in the food and beverage industry, but all sourcing. So that has been the advantage, is that it has been a transferable skill that I can move with me from career to career. The challenge is that procurement or sourcing looks different at every single company. So I have the foundation down, right, the basics, but at every single company, how it's implemented, what the drivers are looks different. So that's the challenge. The end goal is usually the same, but it looks different at every single company, but it's a transferable skill. So that has been a great advantage.
Wonderful. Thank you. Brenda, did you have a response to that as well?
I do. I have like one challenge, I think, because this question, the way you phrased the question was throughout your career. I think it's really finding a match between your values and the values of the company in which you work, right? And when you don't have that match, you really have to make a decision whether that's the place for you long-term or not. What I've found at KDP, when you think about the values that Laura put up at the beginning in terms of team first, or, think bold and be fearless and fair, those values really match what I'm about personally as well. So it's a good match. And so that for me has been a plus in terms of KDP, and maybe in some prior companies, not much of a match between my values and what that company stood for. One of the advantages that I've had through my career is mentors, right? So there have been mentors that have just organically happened for me, but also there have been mentors that I have actually asked them to be my mentor. And so it took a leap. As scary as that was sometimes to say, hey, that I had been working with some senior leaders, they had known my work, they knew what I could do, actually saying, would you be a mentor for me, where I could run things by them or get their advice on culture, the people, the business, et cetera. And I've been lucky enough to have that through my career and have it here at KDP as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Brenda. And we've actually had a question come through specifically for Yolanda. So, question for Yolanda: when you earned your degree while working, what happened post-graduation?
So actually post-graduation, I at that time, I ended up taking a lateral move in my career because, like I said, the first time when I got my undergraduate degree, I set a goal that I needed to get my undergraduate degree before I started a family. So once I got that, I actually started my family, and I took a role that was less demanding as far as, working long hours and things of that nature. And then after a couple of years, I challenged myself again to go back to school to get my master's degree before my daughter started elementary. Now, what's important about that is, like I said, I took a small break, but when I went back to school for my master's degree, it was a little while ago, but the online class environment had started taking off. And what that taught me at that time, because I said, once I get my master's degree, this college thing, I'm done with it. But what that taught me was to become a life learner, and being able to have the longevity that I've had as I've continuously learned new things and like I said, changed roles a few times and didn't get comfortable. Because that can be a challenge, is once you learn to do things a certain way, it's already changing in the market, and you have to be able to keep up with the trends and different techniques and different strategies. So again, I would encourage, is there's not a one size fits all, but like I said, there with KDP, I've been able to just kind of move around to have that work-life balance and to continue to challenge myself to learn new things.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Yolanda. There's another question that's come through that I'd love to position and put out there for all of you. So what industry shifts have you noticed, and how do you continue to innovate? Who would like to take that one first? I want to pitch it to you, Brenda, because I know you'll have a brilliant answer. But open to all
first.
Open to all panelists.
Exactly. Well, because I'm in the insights business, that's our job, is to be foresight driven, right? So we are always paying attention to the external environment to really understand consumer needs. When you think about the innovation that KDP has put out in the last few years, that's based on our understanding of the consumer, what makes them tick, what they want, what are their emotional needs, what are their functional needs, how do we deliver that from a technical standpoint, right? What are the benefits that we want to do? And then we also look at it not just from a general market standpoint, but from a consumer targeting standpoint as well. So that is what our jobs are, is to stay ahead. That's my goal, is to always be number one and to always leapfrog the competition in terms of getting ahead of the needs, so that our product pipeline, our innovation pipeline, can address those needs first, right, across the portfolio. That's the fun part of the job, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Brenda, very much. The next question that has come through, I'm going to shoot over to Ahirame. What is your favorite aspect of the job, or even of the company overall?
Favorite aspect of the company overall when we were in office was the free drinks. I love Dr. Pepper. I recently found out about Big Red. So love Dr. Pepper. That's the aspect of the company. I was like, this is great. Of the job, I'm in sourcing, support, marketing. So really, I'm doing the contract and then I sort of step away, but being able to see the end result of some of the contracts I've worked on. So if it's ad production or media, I feel special when I see it on TV, that commercial on TV or an ad on Instagram, because I know I played a small part in that, even if it's on the contract and back end, but really seeing the different contributions that I'm making, seeing the end results. The other thing that I really liked is about the company is the continued learning. I'll share that just last week, I joined a webinar that was on Bean to Cup. So it was a webinar that, our live webinar, lunch and learn type thing, that showed you the entire process of the bean to testing, the coffee. And that was my entire introduction to the process. And just that continued learning and really learning about different aspects of the business beyond just that single area that I may support. So I love that about the company. There's that encouragement and promotion to learn other areas.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Question coming in that I will position to all of you. What skills or resources would you recommend or have used to manage up or influence decision makers? Skills or resources would you recommend or that you have used to manage up or influence decision makers? Who would like to take that one first?
I'll take it. I think part of it, managing up, is an important part of advancing in your career. And so part of it is you have to show up every day and you have to perform, but you also have to get to know the leaders that will be making the hiring decisions. And so I just learned early on in my career is developing those relationships. And you may not be able to have a relationship with the leader, but get to know their staff, get to know people that work around them, and you would be surprised how your name gets out there. I know a couple of roles that I've had in my career, I've had people seek me out just based on maybe something their executive administrator has said, or but it's really about relationships. You can't come in every day and have your head down and not have that network, because when those hiring decisions are made, that doesn't need to be the first time they hear your name.
Excellent. Thank you, Yolanda. For the participants that are here and listening, I do want to make a note, and thank you, Melanie, for putting in the chat. We have 2 additional KDP folks here on the call today as well. Ryan Poe, who was a previous MBA intern in marketing. So if you have any questions for Ryan, definitely let us know. We're also joined by Evan Frisch, who is our Senior Vice President of Supply Chain Strategy and Productivity. So if you have any questions for Aaron, I'm sure that he would be very, very happy to answer those. So until we get some questions coming in, we'll go back to the other participant questions. Here's one that I will position to the panel as well. Do you have any suggestions for a career-changing MBA candidate? I worked in broadcast news for 23 years, but now I want to transition to the CPG world. Any advice?
I would say if you're interested in transitioning to the CPG sector of business, there's a lot of transferable skills that you can take with your communication degree. I would say, go to some of the major companies and see what kind of jobs that are out there in communications. I mean, at KDP, we have a department that deals with internal communication as well as external communication. So you would be surprised the opportunities that you could take advantage of.
Excellent. Thank you, Yolanda. Wonderful. Just checking the Q&A. How long do employees typically stay in a role? Question to our panelists.
I would say, since I've been here the longest, at the beginning of my career, it was like a year to 18 months. And that was, you have to remember, that was pretty much entry-level positions. However, as you get more into, management leader positions, you may end up staying a little bit longer. But I know the back half of my career, I would say my roles have expanded. By taking on more responsibility. Brenda had touched on it earlier. They will tap into you to do something, totally out of the box. And it may be a little fearful at first, but I soon learned if you don't have a little bit of anxiety, you might be a little bit too overconfident. But it really depends on the role that you're in and what opportunities present themselves at that time.
Yeah, and I want to build upon what Yolanda just said. When I look over my career, so I had to do this for leadership development training when I first got here. And we had to lay out like what our career path had been, right? And so there's an assumption in your head, if you don't put it on paper, that you're always being promoted and going up, up, up. When in fact, there are more roles that are more lateral than anything else during the course of your career. And I would say those lateral moves, especially the ones that pushed me out, like the brand marketing role, or early in my career, I was a volume forecaster, God. So, so doing those kinds of things really are scary at first, but I have to tell you that those are the best experiences and help me do my job better today than if I didn't have those experiences.
Great advice. Great advice. Yes. When you're uncomfortable, that's when you're growing. So uncomfortable is good. It's very good. Just checking the Q&A here. Let's see. And remember, if you have questions for our panelists, please do put them in the Q&A feature. Here is one. What methods does the company use to retain or attract talent? To our panelists.
I would say, because retain talent. I think for me, what I have seen, and particularly since KDP has come on, there's lots of opportunities for personal development. Right now, I am taking a leadership class with McKinsey. And so for me, it's like KDP is putting their money where their mouth is. And so being able to take this class is bringing back some refresher things that I learned in my graduate degree program. And so it for me is seeing that investment that the company is making in the individual employees that keeps me, returning to work every day.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'd absolutely agree with that KDP is really investing in its employees. If I speak, and that's enterprise-wide with different learning opportunities that have rolled out. If I just highlight specifically on the procurement strategic sourcing side, we have a procurement operating model and then a training and development work stream. And there are people from within the procurement organization on this work stream. And our task is to do focus groups, speak with our peers who may not share through department surveys how they're feeling in terms of learning opportunities, and then we provide that feedback to our procurement leadership team. And they have been really receptive. The Bean to Cup webinar that I mentioned came out of the feedback we received from the team. Was a webinar that we launched as part of a Lunch and Learn. So really receptive in terms of providing learning opportunities, either as an organization, as a department, but also independent learning as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we have a question for Ryan that has come through. Ryan, this is for you because it's specifically about internships. So do you feel that your internship gave you a good sense of your full-time role?
So first off, thank you for getting me involved. I've loved to hear all the answers from the other panelists, and it's great to get a question come my way. The short answer is yes. When you're an intern, you are doing exactly what you do as a full-time. You're not doing anything different. You're having less responsibility because you're focused on one project for the 8 to 10 weeks that you're here. And in a full-time role, I'm juggling a lot of those projects all at once, but you're really getting stretched to kind of prepare yourself for what that juggling would be like when you do come back full-time. So short answer, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. And we also have a question for Evan that has come through. So Evan, with such a large supply chain, how do you look for value add in the supply chain on an enterprise level?
First off, thank you, Tanika. And I want to be the first to wish Yolanda happy 25 years. That is a milestone. In fact, I just dropped you an email. I couldn't let that go. That is remarkable. So as you would imagine in supply chain, one, we have a lot of acronyms. Two, we measure everything, right? So our key performance indicators are broken generally into the areas of safety, quality, delivery, cost, et cetera. So what I would say is just delivering the basics on that is the ante, is the table stakes. How do we identify and deliver value add in a very competitive environment? I would say first off, again, safety is something that is just completely non-negotiable, as is quality. Must do. Once you get to the areas of growth, which to me is a sort of moniker for innovation, delivering new things that delight customers and consumers. And specifically around delivery, making sure that we not only can put it out there, but we can support the growth that we've seen. That's where on the fringe you start developing value add. What I would also say is back to insights. So this actually ties several panelists together. It's extremely focused on consumers and behaviors and customers and how they sell and deliver and distribute our products. And we solicit a lot of feedback, right? So in that process, we're asking all the time, how do we make our products better? How do we meet the mark? We have a very highly tuned competitive radar that is letting us know what competition is doing and where we see trends, macro trends, micro trends, international trends, bleeding edge trends leading us to. And then our job, I think, if we do it right, is to translate the business strategy, so where we want to go as a business, into a supply chain strategy so we can build a supply chain that can deliver safety, quality, delivery, cost, and growth across the new value add that's defined by the business. So it's a great question. There's a lot of ways to answer it. I would say there's an existing framework that if we just do that well and continue to move towards where the vision of this company, and it's an ambitious vision, I will tell you, I believe that would be a tremendous value add.
Muted. Thank you so much for that, Evan. We are running short on time, and I think we have time for one more question. And I'm looking in the Q&A, and there's a question: how do you keep up with consumers' changing consumption habits with product branding and marketing?
I can answer that question. I was waiting to see if Ryan would jump in too on that one.
We can go to Ryan right after you.
Okay, but we do keep up with changing consumption patterns. We're monitoring that every day. The amount of data and information that we have access to that we generate, as well as what we buy, gives us a really good sense of what's happening with beverage consumption today. And so we can look at different categories and see where the source of volume is coming from, who are the people buying, what's the frequency of buying. All of that information is available to us. And that actually helps us as we feed into sort of our executions at shelf, whether we're talking about brick or mortar or digital, our communications, all of the content that you see as well is driven by what we know about current consumption behaviors. And of course, innovation takes advantage of that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Brenda, very much. Anything to add to that, Ryan?
I'm not going to be able to say it any better than Brenda, but I mean, that's the truth of it. I mean, we're in it every day. I work on the brand team right now, and we're leveraging that data day in, day out to make sure that we are staying in front of those trends and making sure that we're having our brands execute in the right ways to get in front of it. So well put.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much to our panelists. All of you, what I'd like to do now is to turn it back over to Paula.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Keurig Dr Pepper, for providing such an insightful information session as it relates to your organization. And thank you all for joining us for the session. So your feedback is incredibly important to us. We encourage you to complete the link that you will find in the survey, in the chat, and give us your feedback on the session. So the first 25 people to complete this survey will be entered in a chance to win an Amazon gift card. So do not delay for your chance to win that card. Again, thank you all for joining us, and we do hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.